Hello there. Thanks a lot for staying with us here on Newsflash. And this is where we talk about all the issues that concerns you. Of course, if you are joining us for the first time, you can also send your thoughts to us and let us know what you think. Newsflash is proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, phones Papa Pafi and just gone by Sidua brought us the headlines on Newsflash. And we'd like to say a big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise. Now, Franco has got something special for this Christmas, a 40% discount we're giving you on all items that you buy from Franco Trading Enterprise. Now, your home appliances, you can get them from us. We're talking about television sets. We're talking about microwave. We're talking about refrigerators. We're talking about your phones. Yes, if you want to buy Samsung, Nokia, iPhone, any type of phone you want to buy, Franco Trading Enterprise is the best place that you have to go and get them. Franco Trading Enterprise says this Christmas season, we're opening up and we're showing love. And so come and get a 40% discount on items that you buy from us. Please do not pick numbers on social media to do business with us. Always make sure that you call on the numbers that we give you. All right. And if you want it delivered, we're definitely going to have an arrangement with you as well. And make sure you get your products, any product that you buy from us that you want it delivered to you. We'll definitely do that for you. Franco Trading Enterprise says still phones Papa Pafi, and Christmas just came early. So please do well and get to Franco Trading Enterprise. We've got branches across the country. And so visit any of our branches here in the country and you can make a purchase from us. Franco Trading Enterprise says still phones Papa Pafi. And we've got a lot of things coming up on the show this morning. And so let me run you through some of the things to expect, and then we'll get into our newspapers, the front pages, and what has been reported. This morning, we're taking a look at the new Chief Justice that has been sworn in. We'll pass our comments briefly on that and move on to the Ghana Armed Forces. They've resumed the recruitment. On Thursday, just this Thursday, they're going to go back again. The suspension has been lifted, and so we're going to find out what measures that have been put in place to ensure that we do not experience what we saw a couple of weeks ago. That conversation is also coming up. You can also share your thought with us as well. And then we'll move on to the Education Ministry. They intend to present a bill to Parliament, which would give officers who are in training actually go through some education reforms and all of that. And so we're going to be looking at it. The Education Minister met with the Speaker of Parliament and put that before him. And he said that very soon he's going to come to his chambers to actually let him get that bill. And so we'll be looking at that as well. What would that implication be? You know, what will it change in terms of the training that our military or police services? I mean, it's for all the services, those who are in security services. And so we're going to find out what this would do for them. That conversation is also coming up here on the show. All right, so we're going to go through the front pages of the newspapers real quick, and then we'll get back to the issue. But what we intend to do this morning is to open the phone lines briefly for you to share your ideas and thoughts with us this morning on the issues we're talking about, especially the military recruitment that is going to be opened again this Thursday. Based on what has happened the last week, what do you think that should be done? Or moving forward, do you think that the military has learned something that hopefully on Thursday we're not going to be seeing what we saw again? These are your own concerns and your thought that you want to share with us, because we believe that we do this with you, and it's important that you also share your thought with us this morning here on the show. So we're going to open the phone lines in a matter of minutes, but let me go through the front page of the newspapers that we have. The Ghanaian Times is here, and it's Ghana's most authoritative newspaper, they say. And on the front page, it says inflation for building sector eases to 9.7% in September. That's Ghana Statistical Service reporting on that. Dr. Abdullah to be honored posthumously next national awards. That's also captured on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. Military recruitment in Accra resumes Thursday across 8 centers. That's also on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. Now, Upper East Region farmers face existential threats from donkey slaughter, climate crisis. That's also on the front page of the Ghanaian Times this morning. Away from that, let's look at the Catalyst, also reporting on some issues, major issues as well. And it says Mahama unleashes Ghana's new maritime powerhouse. And also Assassin Radio report false and mischievous. Gold Bolt says so. Accra Kumasi Expressway to be completed in 3 years. That's the catalyst this morning. Major infrastructure projects set to boost trade, jobs, and regional connectivity. And away from that, Women's Development Bank is here, and it's got the vice president captured over there. NPA marks 20 years of steering Ghana's petroleum downstream sector, and Qatar's Sheikh Mansour said to make $1 billion investment in Ghana, and this is what we've been asking that it happens to Ghana. And so we're excited about it. And away from that, the overseer is here, and he says Ato has restored hope after 8 years of mismanagement. Steve Mantiao hails 2026 budget, and also Gold Board denies 3 billion Ghana cedis loss, calls Assassin Radio reports false and misleading. And importers welcome withdrawal of Hajia Rashida Mahama from Tema Port. Government prioritizes food security. Eric Opoku says so. And the Ghana Armed Forces resumes Accra recruitment on November 20, screening to be held at Elwak and 4 new locations. Ensure justice is not tilted toward the powerful Mahamadou Bafo Boni. That also is part of one of the conversation we'll be looking at. The Daily Graphic is here this morning. It says 2026 budget, VAT reforms to boost business growth. GRA boss says so. And Speaker launches scholarship for MPs, parliamentary staff. And away from that, uphold judicial integrity. President tells new CJ. And that's also captured on the front page of Daily Graphic today. The New Republic is here, and it says OSP bully boy in 5-hour elevator rampage. A lawyer grilled, stabbed, and slapped with bogus charges in an explosive corruption probe. NPA marks 20 years of petroleum regulation. And Palace coup in Kowu sparks a firestorm as exile chief returns. And judiciary in crosshairs. Mahama swears in Bafuboni and ECOWAS verdict on Tokonu. GRA goes digital. Pilot online tax 2 plans AI-powered customs overhaul. That's also the New Republic this morning. And then the last one for me this morning will be the Insight. And the Insight is reporting on Chief Justice. And it says Bafuboni is Ghana's new CJ, vows to ensure the judiciary services all, not the powerful. The judiciary serves all, not the powerful. I beg your pardon. Gold Board refutes 3 billion losses claim as industry experts command Sami Jemfi for value addition initiative. And as Beijing opens market to 53 African nations, SMG hails China's landmark zero tariff policy for Ghana. And our forestry staff interdicted despite generating record to 623,000 Ghana cedis for the commission. And account for negotiation for your own good north of Fankor land encroachers told. CPP stalwart demands arrest of Galamsey kingpins, not laborers. That's also captured on the front page of the Inside newspaper. All right, so let's try and see, and I'm sure it's one of the conversations that we're about to have this morning, which happens to be the new Chief Justice who's been sworn in. We're going to be looking at that issue this morning. Like I said, we'll try and see how best we can connect with you individually via phone. Hopefully, if we're able to make some time for that, we're definitely going to be looking at that conversation from your end as well. So you can also share your thought with us on what you think. But let's say a big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise. Franco Trading Enterprise is making it very, very simple for a lot of us to enjoy Christmas, this Christmas season. And they're giving 40% discounts. Black Friday is here and it's back again. And this Franco Trading Enterprise is running a 5 days Black Friday promo, which starts from the 24th of November to the 28th of November 2025 with an amazing discount. Enjoy discount of up to 40% on our products such as Nokia, Samsung. We have iPhones, smart TVs, which ranges from 32 to 100 inches. Franco Trading Enterprise is also giving air conditioned, which ranges from 1.5 2.5 horsepower to 2.0 horsepower and 2.5 horsepower as well. Now we've got chest freezers and refrigerators, washing machines, microwave blenders that we are also selling as well, generator, gas, electric stove, CCTV cameras that you need for your homes and your offices as well. The monitor, you can actually monitor anywhere at any time, and the screen display is very, very big enough for you and all that. Easy configuration, 3-in-1 video audio control, all in one composite signal as well. And these are things that you need to make your life very simple. It's available in all Franco shops nationwide. Call us on 0246-422338 or 0555-939311 and 0302-225651. You can also download the Franco Trading app from Google and Apple Store. You can visit our website, which is www.francotrading.com, or you can download the Franco Trading app from Google Play Store, and then you're good to go. All right, so that's all you need. Franco Trading Enterprise says still, Funks Papa Pafi, and we're grateful to them this morning for bringing us the News Flash segment here on Prime Morning. And if you just join us, like I said, you can also share your thought with us. But let's take a look at the swearing in of the new Chief Justice, which happened at the Jubilee House, and it was well attended. So let's take a look at what the President said and what the new Chief Justice, Justice Pafuboni, also said during the ceremony.
Access to legal education in Ghana has long been a steep climb. Each year, hundreds of qualified law graduates find their dreams stalled at the gates of the Ghana School of Law due to limited slots, high costs, and stringent entry requirements. Advocates, including the newly sworn-in Chief Justice, Justice Paul Pafuboni, are calling for reforms to make the system more inclusive.
Your Excellency, we also cannot ignore the call for reform in legal education. The future of the bar is the future of the bench. We must move from exclusion to inclusion, from rote learning to critical thinking, and from credentialism to competence. Working with the General Legal Council, the Ghana School of Law, and our law faculties, we shall pursue a model that ensures opportunity without compromising quality. Our goal is not merely to produce more lawyers, but better lawyers who are disciplined, ethical, and devoted to the cause of justice. Your Excellency, today marks both continuity and renewal. Let us together ensure that the Ghanaian judiciary remains not a citadel of privilege, but a sanctuary of hope, where the poor and the powerful alike can find refuge in the impartial majesty of the law.
President Mahama in his speech pledged his unwavering commitment to the independence of the judiciary, urging it to be above reproach.
The strength of our democracy depends on a delicate yet essential balance of powers among the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Each branch is supposed to operate independently, and yet they have to collaborate in order to serve the common good. And so today, as President, I pledge my unwavering commitment to the independence of the judiciary. And I wish to say that an independent judiciary is not a favor to the courts. It is a constitutional necessity and a protection for every citizen, including the President. We must therefore jealously safeguard the institutional, financial, and administrative autonomy of our courts. Decisions of our courts, whether we agree or not, whether popular or unpopular, must be respected and enforced. This is the bedrock of the rule of law.
The President also urged the Chief Justice to prioritize the reduction of case backlogs through innovative systems.
Too many of our fellow citizens still experience justice as something that is distant, that is slow and financially burdensome. Court adjournments, delays in delivering judgments, and complex procedures can turn our courtrooms into places of frustration rather than places of hope. I therefore urge you, my Lord, in collaboration with the Judicial Council and the Bar, to prioritize the reduction of case backlogs through innovative case management systems. The expansion and modernization of court infrastructure, especially in underserved districts. Also the use of technology, e-filing, virtual hearings where appropriate. All
right, so officially the new Chief Justice has been sworn into office, and we're going to be having conversations on that this morning right here on the show. Like I said, you can also join us and let us know what you think about it and all the other issues that we're talking about. A big thank you once again to Franco Trading Enterprise, Still Phones, Papa Pafi. This morning I've been joined in studio by Mr. Kofi Ameyao. He's former Director of External Affairs, the NPP. Good morning to you, sir. I hope you're good. I'm good. I hope you're good too.
It's the first time.
Yeah, this is the first time. I've been away for a while, so.
Okay, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And also been joined in studio by Dr. Dramani Bukari, his Deputy Chief Executive, MPA. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well, and thanks for having me.
Great. And we appreciate your time here this morning with us. And of course, Kwame Nkrumah Botsio is also here with us, General Secretary for the CPP.
Good morning, my brother.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. It's been a while.
Yeah, I went on leave.
Oh, okay.
A very long one for that matter.
You're looking very well. Well deserved.
Thank you.
Are you a relative of Botsio? The one you know?
Yes. Thank you.
He's a member of the family. Anyway, thanks so much for the time this morning. I really appreciate your time with us this morning. So we're going to do like 5 minutes on this Chief Justice issue and move on to our substantive issues. I'd like to start off with Mr. Ameyao. Let me start off with you. The minority have their own differences. In fact, they still continue to have their own differences with regards to the Chief Justice, and now he's been sworn into office. Are we going to cooperate?
Oh, of course, we don't have any choice than to cooperate because we hold a fidelity to the country to serve and to serve the people. We will do just that, but that does not mean we also need to relegate the issues to the background and push it under the rug. We will continue to make our views and our points really known and to establish that the processes leading to the investiture and the appointment of the Chief Justice is a blot on our Constitution and is a lasting stain on the legacy of John Dramani Mahama. For me, it was not proper and it was avoidable. We could have avoided the processes leading to the removal of the former Chief Justice. Her Lordship, Gertrude Tokono. Look.
But the NDC or the party or the government still believes that you've not been able to come up with a very substantive justification of where you stand because they believe they went through the legal process.
You see,
so if you're arguing or debating the legal process...
You need to look at the preponderance of the petition that was sent for her removal. And when you look at it objectively, you realize that we shouldn't have even looked. You see, I made a point that there was a dereliction of duty by the Council of State, especially looking at the petition. It's something that should have been jettisoned and thrown away from the word go. But it has been done, and the excuse is that, we went through the due process. But it should also be made known that it is the first time in the history of Ghana, even the sub-region or even Africa, I don't know, even the world, where a president has removed the Chief Justice. And I'll continue to make the point that it will be a lasting stain on the legacy of John Dramani Mahama. It's avoidable. I mean, for the fact that the Chief Justice himself revealed that out of fear, he sentenced a convicted armed robber to 17 years in prison.
During the...
Otherwise, I think he has had a very...
Some believe that he said that under a certain contest.
Oh, no, he shouldn't have said that, because even the oath...
And legally, he doesn't really have any issues to deal with in terms of what he said.
No, it's not about that. Look, imagine a judge sits in his mighty seat and just pronounce judgment on him based on his personal feeling or out of fear or favor. It's dangerous. It's something that we should not condone. I mean, Atayi is a known, a convicted. Yeah. He went through the proper... what do you call it, the court processes, a court of competent jurisdiction. There was a prosecution. It was established that...
And the judge, he being the judge at the time, had the right to sentence...
Yeah, he had it.
In his own...
But the very oath he swears, or he swore, establishes the fact that he should do so without fear or favor. And this time, he made it clear that he did it out of fear. Do you get my point? That is where the challenge is. Otherwise, I believe that he has had a very sterling, career, and then he deserves it just like anyone. But again, the point must be made that the processes leading to his appointment and, of course, his investor yesterday, and the fact that he's now the Chief Justice, is something that this country must never revisit. And that is why I think there is an attempt by the Constitutional Review Committee to look at the very article, the provision of the article 146?
144.
144. That gives creates the environment for any removal of, it's something that we really need to look at. Otherwise, I have never made the point that when the MPP comes into office, there will be an attempt to go through a similar process. I don't want to do that because I find it very shameful where maybe out of a frivolous or a very light petition, somebody will say, okay, I have petitioned a Chief Justice, and because there are processes which are legal and due, then you would have to go through just because you don't like a particular Chief Justice or you don't like a particular person. It's something that I wouldn't support.
Okay.
But at the end, I would want to also make this point.
Okay, that's wrapping up for me.
Wrapping up, I heard during the investiture talking about reformation of the judiciary. I don't know if the attempt to reform the judiciary was genuine or otherwise. But what has happened, or what happened before the appointment of the Chief Justice, really undermines and derails the effort to reform the judiciary. At the end of the day, it's clear to majority of Ghanaians, an overwhelming majority of Ghanaians, that there was a deliberate attempt to remove the former Chief Justice by any means necessary. And by doing so, you do not tell me that you still expect people to have confidence in the judiciary when the executive more or less has interfered into the judiciary. I don't think it breeds confidence and it breeds that reformation that we are looking for. And like I said, and I'll make the point lastly, that what happened before his appointment should never happen and shouldn't have happened in the history of this country. Shouldn't have happened.
Thank you very much. Let me move on. Doc.
Yeah. So thank you very much once again for having me. Good morning to your very cherished viewers, and good morning to my colleagues in the studio.
Good morning.
First of all, rather than lamenting over what may have happened and your perception and opinions of the legitimacy or appropriateness of that process, I think that as a Ghanaian today, something really good has happened, which is that there is an orderly transfer of power from one Chief Justice to another. In any jurisdiction, such very monumental, such moments are celebrated because the role of the judiciary in the affairs of nation building is hugely critical. And indeed, there is strong basis why there is separation of powers, and the judiciary is mandated by the Constitution to be an independent body, which will ensure that, in fact, which will perform several other tasks, including that justice is given to everyone, regardless of whether or not the person is a Ghanaian. For as long as you find yourself within the confines of this country, the judiciary has a duty to ensure that you get a fair, justiciable process. So for me, what has happened rather strengthens our constitutional democratic process. It does not seek to weaken either the process of our democratic building or the institution of the judiciary. Look, we ought to be very clear in our minds about one thing. Throughout the concerns, or for all the concerns that have been raised, either by the minority or by other independent-minded persons. Not one instance have I, and if anybody has seen that, they can point it out on the show. Not one instance have I seen that the processes outlined under Article 146 of the Constitution has been breached. No one has given indication to that. No one. There are allegations.
Come out with some of them, and they believe that
they haven't pointed to any single one of the subsections or articles. They should point to them and explain why that has happened. In any case, this is a matter that the former Chief Justice has used various, outfits, justice institutions to try and,
maybe that's word correct.
Challenge
or challenge.
To try and challenge. But in the instances, in all instances so far, she has been unsuccessful. And in the minds of the judges that she's attended upon, or that the cases have been brought before, they have all decided otherwise. So for me, look, all of us should have an interest in whether or not the current Chief Justice has what it takes to lead such very critical institution. And I think that now his history of long service with the judiciary is something that's not in doubt. And all of us have actually, at one point or the other, made mention of the fact that this is a very experienced judge, spending 15 years or is it 17 years, one of them, at the Supreme Court alone. Is no mean achievement in terms of the experience that you would have accumulated.
He's got
now, look at the processes.
To prove that.
Well, so you see, I can tell you.
Because the government wants to satisfy.
Look, I can tell you that if you know what you are about, and I do believe that the Chief Justice, with the wealth of experience that he's had, not just with the Supreme Court, but with the entire court system, starting from Circuit, High Court, Appeals Court, to the Supreme Court, the experiences that he has had throughout that journey would come to light on the reforms that he would implement in that very short period. Remember that even before he ascended to this position, he has been one of the very highly placed persons within the judiciary. And as a matter of fact, he would have been privy to almost all the boardroom discussions, and I'm using boardroom figuratively, almost all the boardroom discussions about some of the reforms required within our judicial system. He may have his own opinions, but remember that if you are not in the front seat, your opinions are just reduced to advice.
Okay.
Whether or not you get the opportunity to implement them, it's another matter. It depends on whether or not the person in the driving seat actually agrees with you. So this is his opportunity, and I have no doubt in my mind that this Chief Justice, a lot of people have hailed him for the integrity that he has. A lot of people have hailed him for the independent-mindedness of character that he is. A lot have hailed him for so many things. So for me, look, we may not be happy, or a section of the Ghanaian public may not be happy that a certain Chief Justice is leaving the position today. May not be happy. But at the end of the day, Ghana's interest must be put above all other interests. Ghana's interest must be put above all other interests. My colleague who says...
Okay, Doc, wrapping up for me then.
My colleague who said that the process is a blot. Using such strong words without strong basis amounts to, you know, I don't want to use that word because he's a very good friend, but amounts to propaganda. Propaganda. And I think we should not be doing that, you know. I mean, let's just speak to the issues.
Issue. Okay. Very well. Thank you very much, George. Let me move on to Kwame Nkrumah. Don't try so hard not to go there, but eventually he did.
Interesting discussions, and good morning to your cherished viewers and listeners again. And if you allow me, good morning also to His Royal Majesty, now Professor Edmond Dele, a stalwart of the CPP who celebrates his birthday, and the Convention People's Party thanks him a lot for all that he has done for us. Now, to move on to the Chief Justice issue, you know, it's an issue that's dear to my heart. You know, as a legal practitioner who's been before the Supreme Court a few times, I would say that I doff my hat to both Her Ladyship Justice Tokonu and His Lordship the Chief Justice, Justice Bafuboni. I've appeared before both of them many times, and I would say that Justice Bafuboni, from my experience, is a very stern, strict judge. I have no reason to question his integrity, and I also have no reason to question any of his rulings or judgments. I've appeared before him a few times. But I would say that, you know, we cannot have a vacuum in the country. Looking at how far Ghana has come since my brother Anas's expose, Ghana in the Eyes of Justice, 10 years ago. You know, it is true that Her Ladyship has some cases in the court. However, a stay of proceedings is not automatic. You understand me? But at the same time, if at the end the court feels that there's some relief that should be granted you, trust me, and just as I said in Ghana in the Eyes of God, I do not doubt the integrity of our judiciary. At the end of the day, much will be said, we'll go through a lot. I have done cases. There was one case I was doing over 11 years. I faced many hurdles. By the end of the day, the final verdict went in favor of my client. There are many times.
11 years to
Yes. It wasn't the fault of the judiciary per se. It was a case that traveled through the system. And I faced many hurdles. There were many discouragements. But one thing I know is, if it's not in your favor, the court is not going to decide otherwise. That is my experience. If it's in your favor, the court is not going to decide otherwise. It will decide according to the law. There are times it goes your way. There are times that it does not go your way. And everybody is entitled to their day in court. So I do not support those who are calling on Her Ladyship to assert what she feels may be her right. At the same time, too, I do not think it should stop the Chief Justice, Justice Bafuboni, for occupying an office that he's qualified for. He's the senior most on the Supreme Court bench. His competence cannot be doubted. His integrity cannot be doubted. Ghanaians need some closure, even as the court battle goes ahead with Justice Tokonu. At the end of the day, the Supreme Court itself will decide which way, I suppose, the law should go. The CPP on the 7th of May 2025 were part of a group that issued a statement that we are not taking sides, but we just call on the authorities to follow the due process in the removal process. The due process, from what we have seen so far, was followed. However, the conclusion that came out, as a legal practitioner, there's a little bit of I suppose, a little bit of the conclusion that we still seek, at least from my personal view, we still seek some clarity on, because it was a removal of Justice Tokono as the Chief Justice. And from my understanding, in my few years of practice, I didn't see it as something that would also affect a removal as a Justice of the Supreme Court. You see, so that is where our interest should lie at the moment. But if we're going to talk about a removal as a Chief Justice, it's already been done. We should throw our weight behind
the new one,
the Justice Bafo Boni. And I am fully convinced that Justice Bafo Boni will make sure that everything is done to give Justice Tokono a fair hearing. That you can trust me on. That you can trust me. I think that Ghanaians should not be disturbed about who's at the helm of affairs, because who has raised any issue about the integrity of Justice Bafo Boni? So much so that people are looking at what he said regarding Atai. I think we have to look at it in the context of how it happened, because being a judge is a very dangerous job. You understand me? So he given Atai 70 years. As much as he said by the time he goes and comes, he would have been dead and all that. I think it was in the context. It was a bit of a light-hearted issue. However, because if you look at the charges that were brought against Atai, it involved loss of lives among certain people. So he had the choice to go as far as a death sentence or even a life sentence. But he came down to 70 years. You understand me?
Yeah.
And when it comes to the sentencing regime, there's a lot of discretion that is allowed, but the discretion has to be within the law. Some crimes have minimum sentences. If I remember right, for robbery with use of arms, it's 15 years minimum. But if there's without use of arms, then it's 10 years minimum, from what I remember. So once you meet the minimum threshold, you don't have a maximum. If there's death involved, you can go up to, if there's loss of life involved, you can go up to even giving him a death sentence. And he gave him 70 years. And so I don't think he should be taken up on that. I think Ghanaians should pray for him and also and support him. And even, especially as he presides over this novel situation of the removal of there's a lot of load on him. And so we just have to pray for him. I mean, I don't want to go biblical, but there's a reason why the Bible said, pray for your leaders, because the kind of decisions they have to make on a daily basis is being stuck between a rock and a hard place, or what they say, between the devil and the deep blue sea. Every decision you take, 1 million people are hurt and 1 million people too are happy. All we can do is just pray for them to take the right decision.
All right, thank you very much. Let me move on to the next conversation, which has to do with the recruitment process that is resuming. On Thursday, we're going back again. Now, this time around, they've put in place certain measures that they believe would solve the problem of what happened a couple of weeks ago. And all qualified applicants in batches, they're going to be having 600 persons. They will receive SMS specifying their reporting dates, batches, and designated centers as well. The statement actually read. So I'll try and get the statement over here, and then we'll see what the Public Affairs released with regards to that. So it says all Greater Accra potential recruits are hereby informed that the Ghana Armed Forces 2025-2026 recruitment exercise within the Greater Accra region has, which was suspended last week, resumes on Thursday, 20th November 2025. As part of measures to ensure a seamless process, the screening will be done at 8 sub-centers within the following 5 locations. And they're talking about Elwak Stadium, 2 centers, Nicholson Park, Bema Camp, 2 centers. Air Force Base, Bema Camp, Training and Doctrine Command, Teshi, 2 centers. And we have Eastern Naval Command in Kenya as well. And all qualified applicants in batches of 600 persons will each receive an SMS specifying their reporting dates, batches, and designated centers. They are also encouraged to check on the recruitment portal for updates. Applicants are strongly advised to strictly adhere to these instructions. Any qualified applicant who does not receive a text message by Thursday, 20th November 2025 should call the helpline on mobile number, which they put over there, the WhatsApp number as well for assistance. Applicants can also verify from the recruitment portal. Families and friends are cautioned not to accompany potential recruits to the screening centers to reduce congestion. Non-applicants will not be allowed entry to any of the centers. And meanwhile, the Board of Inquiry set up to investigate circumstances leading to the stampede is in progress to allow for fair and transparent investigations by the board. The entire Greater Accra recruitment team has been replaced. Commodore F.A. Nyako, Colonel F. Kusi Dako, and Colonel GB Information Technology, respectively. And all this the information that they're giving. But of course, some of the things that they have done to ensure we don't see the same thing happening again is what we've read earlier for you. So we're going to be getting into that conversation. You can also share your thought with us and let us know what you think about it. And it's interesting to know that people who have been asked to come for the recruitments allow their family members to follow them to go and do what? Give them morale. Like you're going for some vetting. I don't know how that works, but it's a bit interesting. But let me begin with give me a moment. I think we have Commodore on Zoom. Let me try and see if I can speak to him. And he's a fraud prevention expert, security consultant. A very good morning to you. And how are you doing, Mr. Richard?
I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for your time this morning. And we want to believe that Thursday will be a bit different from, or maybe very different from what we have seen. From where you said, do you see people complying and making sure that we don't get to experience what happened the last 2 weeks?
So I think it's a shared responsibility. The instructions they put out there, applicants will have to follow simple instructions. And I also urge the conductors or the recruitment agency within the Ghana Armed Forces who will be meeting these applicants to give very simple instructions. And once they lay out the perimeters for everyone, we wouldn't have the disaster we had on the Wednesday last week. What is also important is that we are asking them to increase the number of people who will be attending to the applicants. And if you look at the structure they've said so far, 5 locations with 8 centers, 600 people. If you multiply 600 by 8, you are going to have 4,800. If you continue to about 5 days, then you're having 24,000. And if the process go according to what they have set out to do, then they will get the results we know of our Ghana Armed Forces, who we love and who we believe they have the competence and the capability of getting it right.
One of the major concerns that came up after that incident was the fact that why do you allow all of them to come in their numbers and stay out of the premises, the inner premises, and then open the gate and say all of you should come in when others have to even jump the wall and all of that. This time, and again, from your experience, do you think that it's proper that whoever comes first goes into the yard, whoever comes first goes into it, so that we don't have to allow all of them to move in at the same time?
This is the military. They've handled more complex tasks than this one. They've dealt with more complicated issues. What happened to them on Wednesday with that horrible outcome, their investigations will prove it out. But what I saw was that there was a little bit of laxity on the part of the instructors. There was no planning, or they did not follow the plan, and there was communication issue. I believe with the statement they've issued, they have reviewed the process because it has to do with recruitment. So there has to be a process review. And once they review the process, I believe that is why they've started sending messages out. And that is why they are limiting the number to 600. And that is why I want to make sure instructors get earlier than the applicants. And that is why I want to make sure that they set up the perimeters that makes life easier for everybody. These are things the military has the capability to do. And once they benchmark their old practices and their records, they should be able to pull it out. Ideally, one of the things we should have done is that if you are somebody who have not had cadet experience and you are not coming from a military family, then the right thing to do is to seek counseling and to seek guidance when you decide to join the army, because this is the army we are talking about. But to the extent that public education and awareness creation is a major issue, I'm happy with the drive the Ghana Armed Forces have taken to start communicating on WhatsApp and through the media to the prospective applicants so that they get informed, they get to know that you are dealing with the army and there are certain standardizations you have to follow. And once they are all on the same page, I don't think they will have a problem. We can only wish them well.
Now, if you watch some of the videos that we saw and what happened on that day, some people made comments about the fact that why would the military be treating people who are coming for jobs the way they did? Now, moving forward, those who will be going, is there a tendency of some of them feeling a certain type of way and also maybe guarding themselves somehow? Because if any eventuality happens, then it means that I also have to protect myself in a way. Are we possibly going to be seeing that from some of the applicants?
You before you put me on, you were asking why would their parents or families follow them to a selection center.
Yeah.
But I hope today I will not be insulted or be beaten up. But this is the military we are talking about. So it means that the prospective applicants do not know anything about the military. And I also hear people say they went there to look for jobs. And look at what happened. You don't go to the military to look for jobs. You go to the military to serve. And one way of serving, it comes with a lot of sacrifices. So to that extent, I think there was a little bit of miscommunication, and that created a problem. Putting them at the airward, even with the 21,000 or 10,000 or 50,000, if the guys who were handling the process envisage things such as what we are talking about, I seriously believe they would have set up the perimeter. They would have created the entry and the exit routes for them, and they would have dealt with it. But by and large, when we spoke, the high command listened, and they have decided that they are going to use 5 locations with 8 centers, which is one of the best things they have done. If the process goes through according to plan, then they will pull it off, and we will be clapping for them.
So you don't foresee any of the applicants going to the venue on edge in case of anything would happen? I'd have to one way or the other protect myself because I've seen it happen to other people. Some have been losing their lives in the process.
You are dealing with the army. How will you protect yourself more than the commandos?
Well, the struggle always begins with amongst yourselves. The survival, if there's a stampede, how to survive first is what you're looking out for.
Big bro, don't go that target. You are engaging the military. You are not yet trained to become a commando or special forces. And so why will you want to protect yourself against any intruder or a predator? We pray and hope that they will follow simple instructions. The instructions given them will also be clear, and where they lack clarity, they should put up their hand and speak to the instructors. And we'll all be on the same page. I don't think the number 600 is so huge that we are going to see a pandemonium. And when that arises, the first respondent should be able to deal with these are their junior brothers, and they should be able to separate them and make sure that we have a civilized and a conducive environment, which projects the strength of the army, and also ensure that these young people are given the chance to go through the very first element of the selection process. Because this is just the first element. If you are going to write the exam, there's going to be medical, there's going to be some level of interview. And people said, start the whole process digital and finish it. It is not done like that in any part of the world. At some point in time, you are going to meet your instructors, and there's a reason for you meeting them in person, whether at the medical center or when you are coming for the final interview before your letter is given to you to start the process as a trainee. So we need to communicate, and we need to educate the general public. But knowing the Ghana Army and knowing what I have seen so far and heard so far, I'm putting my fingers crossed and believing that on Thursday they are going to pull it off and make sure that we do not have the pandemonium we had at our last week, Saturday, Wednesday.
Very well. Big thank you to you this morning for joining us and sharing your thought with us here on the show. That's Richard Commando sharing his thought with us. He's a fraud prevention and expert security consultant. And it's the issue of the recruitment, which resumes this Thursday. And they have made certain changes that we're all hoping that we'll be able to put to rest all the things that we've seen the last 2 weeks. Let me come back to studio and speak to Amir. You see a better recruitment?
Oh yeah, I do. I happen to have worked with the current chief of the defense staff.
Okay.
Lieutenant General William Japan. He was the military advisor of Ghana to the permanent mission of Ghana to the United Nations, whilst I was the head of information there. So we worked together. I know he's a very efficient man. Unfortunately, last week, his system failed. And I believe he takes that responsibility. And because he takes that responsibility, tomorrow they will do things differently.
That is Thursday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. So
Thursday, sorry.
Yeah.
I believe that I wrote a lot of things, and this morning I wouldn't be a propagandist or something. The accusation that I was doing propaganda. Anyway, so look, when the expert spoke, he said that going to the army is to serve.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a job. And I think, with the greatest of respect, he's to some extent wrong. A lot of these young people are going there because they need jobs. And they are this desperate because they need a job. And I think that if you want your fellow citizens, especially the young ones, to serve, you don't go through this. They don't come and queue in the scorching sun, treat somehow inhumanely, and then you tell them to come and serve. No, I have applied to serve in another country before. This is not what I went through. I applied to serve in another country when I was living there at some point. The processes were seamless. In fact, in recent times, you will see that they have offices just like a retail store. You can walk in, and then if you are interested, and they advertise, just like any product is being advertised on TV. The military is being advertised on TV. But in this case, it's like it's shredded in some secrecy. Look, I'm a semi-diplomat. I've worked in the UN before. I understand security matters at the diplomacy level. I think Ghana must realize that, international security and our defense mechanism and system must be given that kind of embellishment, okay? More so when the whole world, when you talk of peacekeepers and those who keep peace, Ghana is ranked as number 9.
Yeah,
the whole
we have
of
a
the
very
world.
good standing when
To that extent, even in 2019, I coordinated with the Human Resources Department of the UN General Secretary Head Office. They came to Ghana. We worked together with YEA to organize a career fair for Ghanaian youth who are interested in joining the UN.
Okay.
It was because Ghana is among the top 10 countries when it comes to peacekeeping. So when it comes to our personnel, people we send on missions, they are doing fantastically well. But I am saying that things have changed. It's more so when you look at the formation of the Sahel states, the AES, okay, and especially when they are our neighbors. Our defense, our armed forces, those we bring on board should go through a very proper, seamless processes where they will feel indeed that they are serving their nation. Because if we are not careful, the trickling effects, the cascading effect of what is happening around us, as far as extreme violence is concerned, extremist people are around, terrorism and all of these things. So we must take our armed forces extremely seriously.
So you're seeing it more of a punishment than...
I mean, that's how it seems. Because at the end of the day, when you hear of these things, because I recall when I saw one of the videos and the young people, they were sitting on the floor. And they will tell you that's the process. No, we must change. And I've said that I have attempted to serve in the military in another country. And the systems that I went through, they were extremely similar. Look, that was as far back in 2004. Then they were even using technology to go through the processes. Today we are being told, no, when it comes to the military, AI, no, you need it. Okay, you need it. So I believe that moving forward, so the question that begs the answer is that, so for us to decentralize the processes and, institute processing centers, why didn't we do that before? So for me, I am extremely optimistic that moving forward, we will do things better.
Okay.
But having said that, let me extend my condolences to the bereaved family, to the young ladies. That it was extremely unfortunate. You don't intend to serve your country or look for jobs, so-called, and die in the process. So I'm hoping that tomorrow or Thursday and the days after, you will hear good news. Other regions are ongoing, and we haven't heard any bad news. That is good. I think for you to serve your country, you must be treated well.
Okay. All right, Doc, let me take your view on that as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I think it's regrettable that at a time that the military on their own initiated a process to decentralize the military recruitment exercise, we are having to be confronted by such a very deadly catastrophe.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because the military is on their own, seeing the numbers, recognize that what they have always done, which is assembling them all in Accra, was not going to work. For which reason they decided that we will decentralize it to all regions, and the regions will handle this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and I have said that, look, what has happened should not be taken to mean that the military did not have a plan. I believe strongly that the military had a plan, except that they did not anticipate certain variables. And that happens occasionally, not all the time, occasionally. Remember that there's been countless number of recruitment that's been done by the Ghana Armed Forces. We also do know that as an institution, the Ghana Armed Forces is one of the most disciplined and professional that we have in this country. So for me, it's unfortunate that at this point in our lives, it is the Ghana Armed Forces whose activity has resulted in this kind of catastrophe. Nonetheless, they have acknowledged that some things went wrong. Very promptly, they've established the board of inquiry, and the board of inquiry, knowing what the military is made of, will do a very thorough job to ensure that we avert the reoccurrence of the situation. My brother speaks about what happens in other places. We ought to be very frank with ourselves. The military service is not like any other white-collar jobs. Let me tell you, when they go past this stage, the kind of training that they will be subjected to will be brutal. It doesn't suggest or in any way justify that they should be left in the sun. But some level of rigor and some level of physical activity is involved in their training and all of that.
And it begins
and
from
let me tell you, digitization will happen. Digitization will happen, but not all aspects of the digitization. So not all aspects of the recruitment process can be digitized. Not all aspects, including in the jurisdictions where he is talking about. It's not all aspects. There's still the need for physical contact, and there's still the need for physical presence. Perhaps if we get to the point where we have infrastructure developed to the level of those countries, we may be able to maintain people in those small sizes. But even under our circumstances, there's still a lot of room for innovation in terms of how this can be done. First, to mitigate or reduce the level of exposure that we give persons with an interest to serve in the military in this country. But at the end of the day, we must all acknowledge that the process of training our military is rigorous, it's brutal, and persons, and that's why I will not present myself to be recruited, because I am not sure that I can stand, the rigor of that training. And so for me, unfortunately, and I think that all of us, without exception, all Ghanaians have actually condoled with the victims of this incident. The president demonstrated leadership, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, first by halting the exercise halting the activities of this day, paying attention, visiting, victims, directing that victim be given some level of compensation, directing that funeral expenses be taken care of, directing that medical bills be taken care of, so everybody understands, including His Excellency the President. The Presidency has led the way in getting all of us to understand that, look, this was a very unfortunate incident by one of our very disciplined and professional institutions. There are lessons to be learned from the inquiry so that the military, and we have seen that of all the discussions that have gone on, the military has listened and listened very carefully. It's the outcome of which we are having by the revision that we have seen in terms of having 5 locations, 8 centers, and then methodically ensuring that they develop a framework that is able to cater to these individuals, allow them go through that very transparent process of recruitment, and at the end of the day, we get the best qualified persons to serve in our military. There was a suggestion of the process being shredded in secrecy, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure that was a slip of tongue. I'm very sure that was a slip of tongue. And so I'm not going to go into that because we all know what happened in the past. And on the altar of, say, we had a bad luck, you would be, and many people complained, that in their communities there will be there, somebody vanishes for 2 weeks, he comes back in uniform. Many people
talking about under the NPP. This what
absolutely, yes. Many people, and so the suggestion was that they had called, they had a backlog, and then they were then calling people, behind, because based on the list that they had procured from the initial advert that they had done. Correct, but the public did not understand that process, and I think my position is that process was not fair, because you see, if you advertise this year, and I didn't qualify, and you're advertising next year, I could. And I would have been qualified. But I will be denied that opportunity because you think that you already have a backlog. In any case, even the 10,000 people who they said they had a backlog, some of them, by some circumstances, may not have been meeting the requirements again. Age, because some people, because remember that there's always a cutoff point in age. Remember that our health is always subjected to changes. Remember that people, circumstances and so many things happen in our lives. So some people would have dropped off. And in fact, in July, when the Ghana Armed Forces released their audit of persons who were taken to the military training school, out of about 452 people, around 210 of them, 46%, almost half, was seen not to have met the requirements to be in the training school. So they had sacked them. And so for me, that process was faulty, it was flawed, it was unfair, it was unjust. And I think that this process of opening up the system to a lot more people to apply very transparently, and anytime the military has to do it, they don't have to do recruitment every year, but anytime they have to do it, my suggestion or my strong view is that it ought to be published, made transparent, give people everyone fair access, so that persons who are actually qualified can go into the military and serve our dear country meritoriously.
Okay, very well.
Respectfully, just 30 seconds. You see, he kept on hammering on the fact that the processes before were not transparent, but people didn't die. People didn't die. End of story. End of story. I mean, that's what I would say.
Don't you guys think that they're all wrong? Wrong is wrong.
No, that is why I make sure. That is why. Look, I have made copious notes. That is why I make sure I decouple myself from the politics of it, because they are young people.
Absolutely.
I have been unemployed before, and I know
we all have.
Anyway,
so the politics of it can for another day. We can do politics for another day. Not on this one.
I come on. When we're done with Mr.
I want to talk about the MPA matter.
What do you want to talk about MPA? Why? It's not a subject for discussion.
It was read there.
Oh, it was read, but it's not one of the subjects for discussion.
All right.
Okay. So KMJ.
Yeah.
KMJ. The Convention People's Party, we extend our condolences to the families of the 6 bereaved.
Absolutely.
And also we wish speedy recovery to the 5 in ICU and the 12 in critical condition. And I'll say that, it's interesting, but the military has been in the media space for the past couple of weeks, starting with the one who beat up the lady in the pharmacy and all that. And I would beat my chest and say that aside the individual occasional misbehavior, I would say that generally we have one of the best militaries in the world. In my line of work, I've had to deal with the military occasionally. There have been some few court cases and other things, and even though occasionally we've had issues with some of the personnel who we feel did not act right. Generally, I don't think our military is unprofessional. And if you follow what happened closely, I would say, pending the outcome of the report, I would say that I think they did try their best. Some of these things happen. It can happen to anybody. But I would say that they did try their best. And from the statement by Captain Ahin, the acting director general of one of the departments, this is what she said. She added that some challenges were caused by individuals reporting to recruitment centers on days they were not scheduled to appear. You see, so the indiscipline aspect too was there. These are people who seek to enlist in the military. You are not supposed to be there on that day. Why are you going? What kind of unfair advantage are you seeking? I know there's desperation for jobs, just like all of us. I mean, everybody has at one point in time been unemployed before. We know the desperation. Sometimes walking from shop to shop, handing out 120. I don't know.
Places that you're not even allowed to go behind or whatever.
You see, I know how it feels. I understand their desperation, but I think the CPP would want to plead with the youth that try and have faith in the system a bit. It will get to your turn. Don't join those who want to jump the queue. At the end of the day, it doesn't serve them well. When it's your turn, you go when it's your turn. And regarding the technical, there's also this that said that they extended the recruitment because there was a statement that said that the tragic incident happened amid an extended recruitment period announced by the Ghana Armed Forces. The exercise, originally scheduled to close on October 31st, was extended by 1 week following technical challenges on the recruitment portal. So I would say that they tried as much as possible to make it as IT compliant as possible, trying to keep up with I would say, the Western world. But sometimes these mistakes happen. There may have been some contributory negligence on both the applicants and the army. The applicants who went there when it wasn't their turn, I mean, they have contributed to what happened. And even though they stated that this is the first time they've had a decentralized system, every time it is just in Accra. But even with the decentralized system, there was a stampede, which means that the military went the extra mile to try and cater for everybody. What has happened is unfortunate. Let's await the report. Let's not be quick to point fingers now. Of course, we can only rely on what is in the media now. But the report will be there for us to all look at and then to make sure that we do things differently next time.
Okay, let me see if we can do a bit of messages and then we'll move on to the next conversation. The biggest community rap showdown is taking over, and this festive season we're bringing you something that you've never seen before. And if you want to be a part of it, the Beat and Bass is happening, and Joy Prime is bringing you that. Now, if you've got the punchlines, if you can rap in your hood, and if people believe so much in you that you're the real rap god, your street has been actually waiting for you to be a part of this. Now, this is your time to shine. Wherever you find yourself, Ashaiman, Tema, Dansuman, Tamale, Bolga, Kumase, or Boise, just record a 1-minute rap video of yourself and send it to us on our WhatsApp line 0551-575757, and you could be on your way to becoming the superstar you've always wanted to be. Massive prizes await you, legendary bragging rights, and it's all one name carrying the entire community to glory. This is Beats and Bars, powered by Joy Prime. Real talent, one mic, one night. A big thank you again to Franco Trading Enterprise, Still Phones, Papa Pafi. They're making it possible for us to have this conversation. They bring you the Black Friday, and it's on again this year. Franco Trading Enterprise is running a 5 days Black Friday promo. It starts from the 24th of November to the 28th of November 2025. With an amazing discount, you enjoy discount of 40% on our products such as Nokia, Samsung, iPhone, smart TVs. The TVs ranges from 32 to 100 inches. We've got air conditionings as well. You can also purchase some of them 1.5 horsepower all the way to 2.5 horsepower. Chest freezers and refrigerators, washing machines, microwave, blender, generator, gas and electric stove, CCTV cameras. So we're giving all of that. You can monitor your video anytime, anywhere you find yourself. Our screen display is easy to configure, and so please do well and grab one of these for yourselves. And you can go to any of our branches here in Accra. You can also give us a call, and please do not pick numbers on social media. Call us on 0246-422338, 0555-939311, 0302-225651, and you can also download the app. It's the Franco Trading app on Google Play, and if you go on Apple, you can also do the same. Visit our website, www.francotrading.com, and you're good to go. Franco Trading Enterprise says Still Phones, Papa Pafi. Joy is here, and we're bringing you a lot of surprises this festive season. Joy 99.7 FM is taking you to a different level, and it begins with our Islands and Carols, and it's the 13th of December. That's when you can actually be a part of this. It's a stove-stirring night of worship, harmony, and joy. Come sing your heart out. Joy FM, a family party in the park, is also going to be on the 26th of December. Bring the kids, the cousins, the neighbors, and it's going to be a lot of fun, food, music, and memories. Last year was crazy. This year, we're taking it to a different level, so don't miss out. And of course, the party that begins every year, 90s Jam, is coming up in January 2nd. And we're kicking the new year off with a throwback explosion. Dust off your old school drip, and we're going to actually go back to the golden era as well. Save the dates, show up, let's celebrate life together. This December, joy is taking over. Let's move on to some of the messages that you've sent to us this morning here on the show. And this one says, please, what is your evidence to conclude that all those who had a press conference had been disqualified? I think you can use words like suspect and others. Please indicate who made that statement for me, and I'll be glad to ask the person to expatiate on that. Good morning, sir. Welcome back from your hideout. Thank you. It's good to be back. And he goes on and says, where have you been all this? I've been on leave. I just went on a short leave, but I'm back. Did you go on a sabbatical? Oh, boy. Abroad or postnatal? I didn't go on any maternity or paternity leave or anything like that. Please. Hey, so all the text messages about me. Okay, thank you very much for the concern. I appreciate you, but I'm back. Okay. This one over here says that, and that's from Master Planner, Junior Policy Analyst Kintampo. It says, Ghana doesn't have one of the best military in the world. My brother should get his facts right. We shouldn't lie to ourselves. We have a lot of things to do. He can check the 2025 report by Global Firepower Index with the latest military rankings. Anyway, greetings to Dr. Baumia and the next president of Ghana 2029, inshallah. And that's Master Planner. Master Planner, you think so? If you're rank 9, you're not as best as you think. And Mr. Majid is from the Chim, Toronto. He says, I believe the military should remember that they are just like us when the uniform is off. And sometimes they need to exercise patience. Some military officers occasionally behave in troubling ways. It is my prayer that the incident that led to the loss of innocent lives never happens again. However, someone must be held accountable for this negligence. My regards to Honorable Alhaji Ishaq Dauda, Managing Director of Prestia Sankofa Gold Mines. Let me go to this one over here. And it says the Elwak stampede is a national disgrace and the NPP must take full responsibility. For 8 years, they refused to publicly advertise recruitment forms, turning the process into a secret protocol affair for parties insiders. This injustice forced thousands of desperate youth to rush to the LWAC, creating the chaotic crowd that led to the tragedy. The youth deserve fairness, not a system hijacked by political gatekeepers. That's Daniel Akaliok from Sandima who sent in that one. Let me go to Musa Abato in Asawase, and it says, as a nation, we must look ahead and rise above excessive partisanship, especially on matters of national interest. This tragedy was avoidable. The world is changing fast. With AI now at the heart of modern problem solving, happy new strategy has been introduced. This is the surest way to improve efficiency, safeguard lives, and prevent similar unfortunate incidents from happening again. My regards to Chief of Staff, Julius Debra. Let me go to the next one. This one says, good morning, Joy Prime. I'm Kelvin, testing from Dakuman. Sorry, to make a complaint in relation to the registration of the security service, which started their recruitment service. I beg your pardon. Yesterday, I purchased my voucher and was supposed to get the serial number and other details to continue the registration process for the Ghana Immigration and Police Service, but I didn't receive any code. Any of you know about this code thing?
I think I saw
the amount that was even the data.
I saw something online that if you registered and did not receive your code, there was a number there that you could call.
Okay.
Yes. So I think you should check online.
All right.
I think there's been some challenges with that.
Okay. We're going to also follow up on that and see. This one says, good morning, brother. On the appointment of the CJ, could not wait because of the few. We, the over 30 million Ghanaians, wouldn't deny ourselves a proper judiciary because of one misconnected woman. And her so-called, we know it's all saying Ghanaians should sit down and wait, even if the CJ is contesting her case forever. The NPP must rise up. So it meant that you were supposed to still go ahead with what you have to go ahead to do and, not wait for the CJ. Anyway, Meshach Asante at Amasaman says, you see what propaganda has done to the image of Gloria Usu? It was served in the interest of the good people of Tobo constituency to pass vote of no confidence in their member of parliament because she has been continuously disgracing the constituency too much. A whole member of parliament does not understand the meaning of budget. Even today's born baby knows that budget is presented for future use, and we all know that abolition of taxes can only be effective when it is approved by Parliament. So I want to ask Gloria Owusu, when did they approve the abolishment of COVID levy in Parliament? I think Parliament must immediately organize workshops for such MPs because their ignorance is always bringing down the image of Parliament too much. Shame on her. Okay. Let me do something from Same Boachi in Asamankes, in a sense. The nation we were assured would experience a reset has instead become defined by propaganda and rhetoric. We were told that the 2 taxes had been removed, but it has become clear that 10 new taxes have been introduced. Moreover, electricity bills, water bills, and LPG prices have increased. Galamsey activities have escalated, and there has been no update on LGBTQ plus issues since the NDC took office. What is the current state of the promised reset? Ghanaians are seeking answers. The NPP is poised for a comeback. Regards to Dr. Brian Echampong. And let me go on with this one. It says, good morning, please come to our aid. The current security recruitment USSD code is deducting our money from, but over so many hours now, we didn't receive the PIN code and voucher for opening the recruitment portal. As I said now, no communication on the issue from the Ministry of Interior. Oh. Okay, this one says, good morning, I'm Eben from Kwabenya. Let me congratulate the newly sworn in CJ Bafuboni for accepting big task. He has a short time as a CJ, but I have a firm belief he would bring a massive to the judiciary. Our current judiciary needs resetting, and he should just do that for the country. Greetings to Honorable MCA Agbo of Ga East, Deputy CEO of Honorable Peter Akwesi Mensah. All right, let me see if I have another one over here that I can do before we move on. This one says, good morning. The new initiative by the military to decongest the screening centers is highly commendable. The introduction of the short code for purchasing the security services vouchers is also a wonderful step. However, after dialing the code, the SMS containing the serial number is not being received. However, the money has been deducted from your Momo account, and then you go to option 2 where you can retrieve a voucher. They will say you have no purchase voucher. We kindly urge the ministry to look into this and rectify the issue as soon as possible. Thank you. I think we have too many issues to deal with this voucher and this code.
That's why you are not supposed to do propaganda on this matter. See the fact I told you are saying they've organized it well. Is that?
I think about 4 or 5 people have issue with
they are paying and then.
Oh, no, you see. No.
You know, I found it. They said that any qualified applicant who does not receive the message should call. There's a number here.
So there's a number you can call.
Yeah,
so are you if you have also tried, are you calling the number? Let us know if you call the number and you're able to reach somebody to speak to you with regards to that.
You should just go online though. See, the number is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We've got 6 minutes to finish this, so maybe 2 minutes for each and then we're...
Sure. I think that...
you still work for the paper.
Yes,
what are we discussing?
Oh, don't do this, please.
No, what are we discussing? I want to be sure.
There are 2 minutes to...
We have 2 minutes each.
2 minutes each.
To discuss exactly what?
Oh,
your closing remarks.
Okay.
So he's unlimited to
I think for me, the best regulatory agency Ghana has ever had.
The New Republic, right?
Yes.
That's what
Yes. Is the National Petroleum Authority. Is one of, if not the best regulatory agency in the world. When it comes to regulating the downstream petroleum sector, for over 20 years, they have done extremely well. Hitherto, you realize that when you buy fuel, say, for 10 cedis per liter in Accra, you go to other places and...
The different situation.
So now they have a uniform pricing system where they're able to make sure everybody is almost paying the same. But for some few differences of pesos here and there. So I believe that they have to be commended that far what they've been able to do in the downstream petroleum sector. But I think publicity was too low for MPA marking 20 years in the industry, and we didn't hear so much.
Maybe they don't want to spend that much.
I know.
You know, resetting.
The day you went to
okay, I see why you say for that story.
Because for me, MPA is a place that is dear to my heart. And I think that they've done marvelously well.
Okay.
Eduji is a personal friend. He's doing well.
Yeah.
And I think that for the 20 years, they should have done.
Yeah, more than what they have done. I'm sure Doug would have an explanation to that.
Well, yes, there were a couple of activities that were undertaken all across the country. I mean, but they were targeted, mostly targeted at associations, relevant as downstream associations, consumer groups, and then consumer sensitization here and there. You know, the big event, which is the launch, which is what we all saw. And there are other activities that will follow on from here. So it was not meant to be a one-day activity. So beyond the launch, there are other activities that are following up. The good thing about this is that even as it is this regime that's had the privilege of celebrating 20 years, we acknowledge the contributions of the past administrations, including the contribution of His Excellency President John Ajekum Kufuor, who assented to the MPA bill in 2005, without the incremental contributions of the former board and their board chairman, the former chief executives, and recently their deputies, the directors and staff of MPA, those retired, those still working. We couldn't have been where we are. And in fact, the downstream petroleum sector in Ghana has been completely transformed if you look at where we come from. And the fact that the budget, the main issue of the budget was always, petroleum price announcements. and the challenges that came with it, because people will hoard petroleum products, even hoard essential goods and services, because they wanted to hear the price of petrol, and that would then determine, how much they are going to pay, almost at the price of almost everything. So we have transformed tremendously from that time to the point where, if you are someone with very minimal knowledge of the workings of the industry, you can easily predict where prices are going to be by tomorrow, and depending on what is happening on the global, two major factors, depend on the global crude oil prices, and number two, depending on exchange rates. You should be able to predict. And in fact, NPA has a framework that all the OMCs have, and all OMCs can immediately using this, and they are always just abiding by the parameters, and they are determining petroleum product prices, for us. So we have really gone very far, but there's still more to be done. So AI is becoming a thing, automation and digitalization is becoming a thing, and most of our systems so far at this moment have actually been digitalized. Okay. And so if you have some, say maybe a BRV, which is the tanker, ordinarily we call it a tanker leaving from Accra to Kumasi, for instance, we can track it from the port in
all the way to
wherever, and be able to tell exactly where it is delivering the product. That is helping to cut down on smuggling and cutting down on diversions, So there's a lot that's actually happened, a lot of ingenuity thinking that's gone into this. And I think that at the end of the day, it's something that all of us
collectively,
it's something that all of us collectively achieved, and all of us should be very happy about where we are today.
Awesome.
Today, with my chief executive's leadership and foresight, we are focused on dealing with some of the energy transition issues, and how that will even impact the downstream petroleum sector. And so, if you look at his vision statement, which was published, some prior to the celebration, there are a number of pillars that we are actually focused on to ensure that we get it together, and that the downstream petroleum sector does not unnecessarily suffer because we are transitioning from fossil fuels to some cleaner energies. And so there's an integration around, e-vehicles that we are considering today. We are working with the Energy Commission and related agencies to ensure that, if you have a filling station, you can also build an electric car charging station, for instance, within the same filling station. So that as we transition, those businesses are a little diversified, and then we limit the possibility of stranded assets, for instance. And there's a lot more that we are actually looking at doing in terms of digitalizing and automating our systems, where even payments can become automatic. And the statutory margins that we have on various, which are supposed to be going to various institutions, can immediately be paid off automatically. Okay. So for instance, if you go and buy fuel and you buy maybe your whole sum, you buy say 100 cedis, some of it are taxes, okay? Those taxes are meant for different institutions. Immediately, the system should be able to distribute those margins automatically to those individuals, and we don't have to be struggling with issues of people having to keep the money and later come and pay, and perhaps they find other use for the
I think, and I strongly believe that it was good that I'm your brother's. I think
it's good he brought it up. I also want to commend the NPA, and I'll say that my brother Eduji, he has shown that he's a jack of all trades and master of all. When I realized he had been put on the MP and he was leaving the legal system I was very concerned, because I've worked with him on a few cases, and it's a joy to work with him. And I think more grease to their elbows. Okay. And I'm also glad my brother is also on their backs, so that they'll not get complacent.
I'm sure Doc was thinking that it's going to be a negative.
Yeah, me too.
We're not surprising him. Anyway, that's all for this
thank
morning.
You, my brother.
But I just said a big thank you to all of you for coming through. Of course, a big thank you to Mr. Kofiami, our former Director of External Affairs, NPP, and also Dr. Dramani Bukari is the Deputy Chief Executive NPA, and my brother, Kwame Nkrumah Botsio, for coming through as well, General Secretary for the CPP, and those who join us via Zoom. Richard Komodo joined us via Zoom. He's a fraud prevention expert, security consultant. Many thanks to you, gentlemen, for coming through. I really don't take this for granted.